So welcome you all on behalf of National Coordination Center for Pharmacovigilance Program of India, Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission. We welcome you on sixth day of National Pharmacovigilance Week celebration. So today's session is on public lecture that is passionate about pharmacovigilance. Here is the roadmap. As far as the safety of medications is concerned, pharmacovigilance has become the talk of the town for many healthcare professionals as well as the young pharmacy students, as it is one of the most promising and growing careers for the youngsters. So let's know the untouched areas of pharmacovigilance with Senior Vice President, Pharmacovigilance Quality and Regulatory Solutions, Evosena, Dr. Vivek Ahuja. Now, I would like to request Officer in charge of Pharmacovigilance Program of India, Dr. Jay Prakash, to please welcome Dr. Vivek Ahuja and Dr. Vaiki Gupta for the rest of the session. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Tejasvi. I welcome both the eminent experts of the day, Professor Y.K. Gupta, as well as Dr. Vivek Ahuja, who are there with us today to interact with all the audience and to respond to their queries. Both the eminent speakers, they are very passionate about the pharmacovigilance, and so are the topics assigned to them. I welcome both of them, and let me just go through biodata of Dr. Vivek Ahuja. Dr. Vivek Ahuja is Senior Vice President at Eversana. He is a physician and he has done his MBA 5-year pharmacovigilance in India in 2005 and established the nation's first global unit at Ranbaxy. With over 2 years of experience in pharmacovigilance, clinical research, and public health, he served as a vice president and head of global pharmacovigilance at Sun Pharma, vice president at Eris Global, and director at Baxter. Dr. Ahuja's diverse background includes leadership roles at PATH, a not-for-profit organization where he contributed to capacity building for government of Bangladesh, Nepal, and J vaccine manufacturer in China. He has been actively involved in policy making and was part of the core team that conceptualized and established the pharmacovigilance program of the Government of India in 2010. He has been the member of the Training Council of Pharmacovigilance Program of India, guest faculty at THSTI, a DBT institute at Faridabad, and he is also on the editorial board of Pharma Focus Asia. With a well-rounded knowledge and exposure in drugs, devices, biologics, vaccine safety, he likes to draw on his experience in technology to make a significant difference to the pharmacovigilance world. So with this background of Dr. Vivek Ahuja, I invite you, sir, to take the lecture on passionate about pharmacovigilance, and here is the roadmap to your dream. Welcome to you, sir.
Sir, you are not audible, sir.
I think I was muted. Okay. So thank you, Dr. Jayaprakash, for this wonderful introduction. I would now like to deliver the public lecture on pharmacovigilance. Thank you. Please confirm to me if you do not hear me, then please do let me know. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to this public lecture on pharmacovigilance. I'd like to thank the Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission for organizing this wonderful event. The PVPI began in 2010, and incidentally, I was part of that so-called neonatology unit where this neonate called PVPI was born then in 2010. 13 years hence, it has grown by leaps and bounds, and as the demand for PV professionals is increasing, it is the right time to inspire a new generation of PV professionals. But even before I venture out to inspire you, let me take a moment to first self-validate and verify if I'm even worthy of giving you the right advice. In my career spanning more than 2 decades, I had the opportunity to work hands-on in almost all areas of PV, from drugs to biologics to devices to vaccines to cosmetics to nutraceuticals. So learning the ropes across various domains, I also attempted to have a well-rounded experience across the board, be it generic pharma, innovator pharma, or be it even public health or the contract research organization space. I also delved into technology because technology ultimately forms the backbone of pharmacovigilance. So this is the disclaimer slide, and the views presented here are my personal views and not the views of my employer or the organization that I work for. So what is your aim in life? This is an existential question, not just for the Gen Z, but also the professionals of our generation. This is a picture of the Mount Everest, the top of the world, denoting the very top. So what is your aim in life? Is it to reach the very top? Have you already reached the top? Let's find out more about it. If you are the man in this picture, then you are the man in your own bliss. My guess is that if you are here to listen to this talk today, then you are not the man in this picture. You're aiming for something completely different in life. So what are you actually looking for? Are you looking for fame or money or both? Or are you looking for happiness? If you want fame and money, be ready to do the following. You should be ready to make sacrifices, be open to getting embarrassed, be open to change, have courage, and work super hard. If you want happiness, then be ready to embrace uncertainty. Stop comparing yourself with others. Don't chase fame and money always, and read books like the one I showed you in the previous slide, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. Net net, I can tell you there are no free lunches in life. So how does one really scale the Mount Everest and reach the very top? There are two popular routes to scale the Mount Everest. The north side from Tibet and the south side from Nepal. The north face and the south face, as it is called. So which is the easier route to take, the north side or the south side? Well, in life we always like to take the easier route, isn't it? So the north side is actually less crowded and the south side is more crowded. The north side, reaching the mid-level climb, which is 6,000 meters, is less difficult as compared to the south side, because if you're climbing from the south side and you have to arrive at the base camp, you have to encounter something called as the Khumbu Icefall. The Khumbu Icefall is full of ice crevices and it's one of the most dangerous zones. Now, reaching the top of the summit is extremely difficult from the north side because the slopes suddenly become very steep and there are slippery rocks, and then there is an area called the prominent three steps area. The south side is also very difficult and the last part is called the death zone. When you're climbing from the north side, the final summit climb that you have to make, the night before that is shorter. And when you are climbing from the south side, you get more time to spend in the night before at the camp before you begin the last final summit climb. So overall, the north side is harder, and the advanced base camp itself at the north side is at a higher altitude, and altitude, as you know, is the main killer. So the south side, the Nepal side, is widely acknowledged as a relatively easier route with less number of deaths. So let's study in greater detail the south side or the Nepal side. So after passing the Khumbu icefall, the climbers reach camp 1, 2, and 3, which actually involve very gradual ascent, and then the final push comes from camp 4 to the summit, which requires a lot of determination and endurance, but it doesn't have significant technical difficulties. So the early stage of your career is what you would compare with the base camp or from base camp to camp 1. So you just completed your education, but you're completely oblivious of what route to take in life, not much clue of what leads to what. And then when you go to camp 2, it's like then you always have that sinking feeling, the I am so underpaid stage. And then there is the midlife crisis stage when you reach the 40s. What next is the key question that comes to you. What is the purpose of life? That's the stage in the 40s. And then when you reach the 50s, you reach the elusive top. And then you begin to wonder, where is the top? Is this the top where I have reached, or I'm yet to reach the top? So even though reaching the very top, whether it is Mount Everest or your professional career, both are fraught with a lot of risks, and the stakes become higher and higher as you inch towards the top. And that's why it's called the death zone. But the funny part is, there is so much overcrowding even to reach that top. So, what do I need to reach the very top? How do I prepare myself for it? It's not just one thing, it's a combination of so many different things. It's education and training, it's skills, it's exposure, experience, facing different situations, seeking help when needed, and then very important part, which is preparing to take risks. And then the even more important part, that when you have reached the very top, or you think you have reached the very top, you should know where to stop. A bit of luck. So is building a career a game of snakes and ladders, or it is a game of intelligence, skill, luck, and social skills? So a lot of people talk about work-life balance. Well, actually, I have never heard that Sachin Tendulkar or Virat Kohli, they refused to play on day 4 of the 5-day test match because it so happened that day 4 fell on a Sunday, and they said, I don't work on Sundays. I think they don't see their work as work. In fact, they play while they work and they work while they play. So, can we not look at our work also in the same way? Because end of the day, there is no destination. So don't forget to have fun on the way. And that's a contrarian view, which is don't confuse having a career with having a life. I think the right balance needs to be struck, and you have to enjoy the journey. Don't wait for the destination. So let's talk about pharmacovigilance. Traditionally, pharmacovigilance is always looked at like one box. Way back since 2005, I have been trying to find the other box in this big box, which I started calling pharmacodiligence. And that's the drudgery of case processing, collecting data, collecting good quality data, processing that data. But that's not the real pharmacovigilance. The real pharmacovigilance is to be able to find out that one final outcome which can be conveyed to a healthcare professional or a patient to prevent an adverse event from day-to-day practice. Now, if you examine this box in greater detail, with the advent of data analytics and with the advent of more technology, probably now there are three boxes in this big box. And these boxes I call as pharmacodiligence, pharmacorelevance, and pharmacointelligence. So pharmacorelevance is when you start to differentiate the outliers from the irrelevant data, separating the signals from the noise. And then when you begin to contextualize that data with the medical knowledge and interpret the potential harm to the patient, that's when it becomes an intelligent output, and that's what I call as pharmacointelligence. So this is another way of looking at the big picture. What you see on the left hand side is how the data comes in, how all that data is then processed, quality checked, medically reviewed, and then reported to regulatory agencies. And once all that data is collected, you perform analytics on that data and try to find out the meaningful information out of it. And the next step is that you convert that meaningful information into knowledge. You do a periodic risk assessment, and what you determine is the benefit risk profile of that drug. Once you have drawn the meaningful information from that assessment, you advise on what are the measures that you need to take in the form of a risk management plan or a risk evaluation and mitigation strategy. You see here at the heart of all of that lies technology. That's the overall total picture. But now we are all these AI, ML, generative AI, and so on. All these are actually going to take over pharmacovigilance in a big, big way. So let me tell you the big picture. AI won't replace you, but a person using AI definitely will. It's just a matter of time now. This is a very interesting way to understand the entire picture. So what you see on the left hand side is effort, and what you see on the x-axis is focus. So the amount of effort and focus that you see is being spent is very, very high in the phase which we call as pharmacodiligence, the case processing, the case collection, the data collection phase. This guy over here pushing the sphere up represents what used to be a Greek character called the Sisyphus. So Sisyphus used to always keep pushing the rock up the slope, and the rock would always roll down back on him, and he would keep doing the same thing. I think we're doing something similar here in this area. A lot of effort and a lot of focus, which actually instead needs to be devoted to these other areas where we are putting very little effort and very little focus. That's where the most effort needs to be going. You take a step further and try to relate this. The elements that require more work in the form of using the gray matter instead of the white matter, the less labor intensive tasks, but the tasks that require application of science, and skill, they require higher educational qualification. So they also require a higher knowledge of worldwide pharmacovigilance regulations. So these areas can be fulfilled by somebody with a medical degree, and these areas can be fulfilled by bachelor's and master's in pharmacy. And then people ask, how will my compensation and grade grow? Well, compensation and grade is a function of your educational qualification, your experience, and your skill. What you must also remember is that technology forms the backbone of everything that gets done here on this slide. So technology plays an extremely important role and forms the backbone. So what are the opportunities for a science postgraduate or a science graduate? As I said, the science graduate or a postgraduate can be involved in the upstream parts of data collection, data processing, data quality checks, but also in technology. So if they use their knowledge of pharmacology to understand, conceptualize, and process the data, and then marry that with their knowledge of computer sciences, they can solve complex problems. And that's the need of the hour. If you are a physician, you should use your clinical knowledge to do these elements, which is determine the benefit risk profile of the drug, do the risk evaluation, prepare a mitigation plan on how those risks could be mitigated, how the risk could be avoided, and how the adverse events could be prevented. That's where your knowledge of medicine would come in the picture and be of good use. Along with that, when products get recalled from the market, one has to perform a very important task, and that's called the health hazard evaluation. And that's what determines whether there is a risk to the patients, to the population, and what kind of recall needs to be undertaken. Now, with all of this, if you complement all of this knowledge with the knowledge of AI, machine learning, data analytics, then you can solve problems which are even more complex. And the more complex problems you solve, the more returns you get. That's what you need to understand. So increase your capability in the manner that you get to solve the most complex of the problems. But if you choose to pursue a career in academics or you're working for PVPI, then you're probably just one degree of separation away from patients. You work in an adverse event monitoring center. You are collecting data which is coming straight from the hospital, straight from the patient. And you have the most profound chance of understanding science by being there in the thick of action. And then do not forget that we forget to look at the larger picture, the bigger picture. The bigger picture is the data is getting collected because unless and until you have data, you will never have the ability to take regulatory decisions which can be made in the interest of patient safety. If there is no data, there is no knowledge. If there is no knowledge, there are no decisions. So you are contributing in a very big way to nation building. Don't forget that. So let's get back to the top. What do I need to do to reach the very top? You need to do education and training. Masters or a PharmD or PhD, preferably in pharmacology related field, MBBS degree or an MD. Skills. What skills do I need? Learn skills like software used in pharmacovigilance. Become an expert in pharmacovigilance, global regulations, and they are freely available on the internet. They are freely available on YouTube, different lectures. Learn the skills from there. Join an internship. If you cannot get a job right away, volunteer for projects, attend seminars, conferences, get the exposure. and try to get the experience when you are in a job. What happens is, when you get in a job, you leave the opportunities that come your way to contribute. And then you say, I want work-life balance. This is not my job. But the more you contribute, the more you learn. Don't forget that. Now, what is also important is you need to face the situations. And to face those situations, you need to take more courses, online courses, free courses, paid courses, WHO courses, take all of them. Learn various kind of problems that you can solve. Approach people in the academia or the industry. Join LinkedIn. Instead of spending time on Instagram and Facebook and Reels, join LinkedIn. Study what is being mentioned over there. A lot of knowledge is being dispersed over there. Go, grab that knowledge. Prepare to take risks. When in job, try to do those things that others may find too risky to take. Volunteer, raise your hand. I will do this. I will take up the most difficult project. Be prepared to take the risks. And finally, when you think you have reached the top or where you want to reach, you should know where to stop. So listen to your mind and body and sense when it is time to call it a day. Even Sachin Tendulkar eventually retired. And now the slide that everybody has been waiting for. Show me the money. Well, how do you get the money? That's the key question. And here is the answer. If you want to achieve whatever you want, whether it is money, fame, happiness, there are no shortcuts in life. And you got to stretch. And you got to stretch real, not like this. And not just stretch, you got to flop. This is the story of Richard Douglas Fosbury. Fosbury was an American high jumper, and he was considered one of the most influential athletes in the history of track and field. He won a gold medal at the 1968 Olympics, revolutionizing the high jump event with the back first technique, now known as the Fosbury flop. So his method was to sprint diagonally towards the bar, then curve, and then leap backwards over the bar. You might recall in your younger days, you might have tried the high jump by running directly over or trying other methods of flipping over. But what Fosbury did was he leapt backwards over the bar, and that gave him a much lower center of mass in the flight than the traditional techniques that used to be practiced before that. And since then, the world of high jump changed forever, and this became to be known as the Fosbury flop. So the key question is, and the key point is, what are you going to do different that will revolutionize the way things are being done currently? What is your Fosbury flop? And let me tell you, one must continue to reinvent oneself, because the last thing that you want and the last thing that you really want to happen with you is a Kodak moment. What happened with Kodak? Kodak was in the market in 1888, and it disrupted the market with an innovation called the roll film. It created the first digital camera in 1975, but it got scrapped due to fears that it would threaten their own photographic film business, because they were making a lot of money through the roll films. And then the world changed. And that's what is known as the Kodak moment. We stopped taking pictures as memories and we started to take pictures as real-time experiences. Some were shared, others were ephemeral, and most lost forever somewhere on phones and clouds. Unfortunately, Kodak lost touch with what the Kodak moment could mean to a new generation of consumers. Don't let that happen to you. Continue to learn, continue to gain knowledge, continue to reinvent. Don't let a Kodak moment happen to you. Because sometimes what happens with us is that we become too busy. And we become so busy that we forget to work on ourselves and we forget to take care of basic improvements. If that had been the case, the greatest human invention of all times, the wheel, would not have been invented in the first place. Gone are the times when a singular skill can take you to the top. A biomedical engineer combines two types of skills. Similarly, a pharmacovigilance professional, if that person learns technology, acquires a new skill, let's say in data analytics or AI or ML or even coding, that's the premium combination to have. And then you can command premium pricing, you can have a rare skill, you will be so much in demand in the market. That's what you should aim for. So here are some visual representations from Hindu mythology. And these are meant to convey deeper spiritual and philosophical meanings. These should be looked at as a way to understand and connect with the divine qualities and the lessons associated with each deity. Lord Hanuman, he is known for his unwavering devotion to Lord Ram and his exceptional strength and intelligence. So he has a dog form. Lord Narasimha represents a lion and a human, and he represents the divine protection of his devotees and the triumph of good over evil. Lord Garuda, dual form, symbolizes speed, loyalty, and the ability to overcome obstacles, making him an ideal mount for Lord Vishnu. Likewise, Lord Goddess Kamdhenu, she is associated with fertility and abundance, dual form, cow and human. So the whole logic is that there are lessons to be learned. If you have dual skills, you will have greater powers. That's the lesson that we need to learn from this. So is it time to be one of the future Einsteins? Yes, it is. I did a search on LinkedIn to look at the kind of jobs that are being circulated right now, and I found Vice President Artificial Intelligence, Head of Data Science, Pharmacovigilance and Artificial Intelligence, and Data Analytics. Dual skills, they will demand a premium. Dual skills is going to be the way forward. Sometimes we become so greedy that we want everything as 100%. Finding the right job, we want everything. We want a good learning experience, we want a good branded company, we want very high salary, we want everything, not willing to compromise on any single thing. If you watch Netflix, the show on Netflix called The Indian Matchmaking, the protagonist over there, the chief protagonist, Seema Taparia, she's a matchmaker from Mumbai, and she asks the millennial boys and girls to proceed and tie the marital knot if 60% of their criteria match. I think that's a great lesson. In life, in job, if greater than 60% of your criteria match, I think you should go ahead and take that risk. Because there is never a perfect job, there is never a perfect match. So I asked to myself, what is that extra thing that I look for when I am interviewing a candidate? And I got the answer. The answer is, I don't hire people for skills. I hire them for attitude. You can always teach skills. And it is so true. Because skills a lot of people can bring. But that go-getter attitude, that fire in the belly, that hunger, very few people bring to the table. And that's what you need to inculcate to grow your career. And this is from the person who's considered one of the greatest entrepreneurs in recent times. He says the only way to do great work is to love what you do. And whatever you do it well. Sharing a lot of quotes and a lot of stories. But the bottom line is quotes don't work unless you do. And my final parting message to you. We are all work in progress. We have to continuously work on reinventing ourselves, continuously improving ourselves. So career is a journey. Enjoy every step of it because there's no final destination. Thank you very much for your time and attention. You can follow me on LinkedIn and my blog, The Art of Simplifying Pharmacovigilance, also has season 1, 5 episodes, which have been posted on LinkedIn. I'll follow that up with more seasons and more blogs. You can also watch this video on YouTube. PVPI will provide the link. Thank you very much.
Dear all, the session is open for queries. If you have any query, then you can ask.
Sir, Dr. Vivek,
Yes,
sir,
yes, Dr. Manoj. Yeah.
very good morning. It is not a query. In fact, like as usual, it is a learning for me also. And I could not resist myself in saying that I have not seen such a wonderful presentation in my 20 years of career, sir. That was really nicely. Content was very fabulous, and you presented in a very philosophical as well as in a very simplified manner that a person like who is just going to be at an inception stage, he can understand it very well that from where he should start, what he should do, and where he should go for. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Manoj. Thank you.
May I make a comment on this?
Yes, sir.
If I am audible to public, I think this lecture should be made mandatory for all pharmacy and medical graduates to listen as a curriculum. I endorse what Manoj said.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for this valuable and interesting session. If there are no more queries, then we can proceed to our next session. Now, for the next session of the day on expert insight on navigating patient safety, I would like to welcome Dr. Y.K. Gupta, President in All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Bhopal. Sir has a vast experience of over 35 years in pharmaceutical sector. He has been honored with fellowships like National Academy of Medical Sciences, Indian Pharmacological Society, National Academy of Science, Indian Academy of Neuroscience, and Society of Toxicology in India. Sir has more than 180 publications in the international as well as national journals and has been awarded with several honors. He is a scientific national coordinator for Pharmacovigilance Program of India. On behalf of Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission, we welcome you, sir.
Great. Thank you so much. I will take it on from here. Um, so, the first thing that I would like to request everyone is, please, everybody, please look at your computer. Let's do a quick waking up exercise. Look at your computer, and in your computer, go to the 6 o'clock position. If imagine your computer is like a clock, and 6 o'clock position, right next to that 7 o'clock position, there is a mute button. Could you find that? I promise it is there in every single computer that any company has made.
Your voice is not audible.
He also got muted. Vivek, you also got muted. Vivek, you got muted.
Okay, so I think the organizers muted everybody, and as a result of that, I also got muted. So, well, I think, but this was actually by design. And if it has happened to me as the moderator, it can happen to you also as a participant. If you are not muting yourself, somebody will come and mute you. Okay, so now let's do a quick exercise. Everybody look at your computer at 6 o'clock position. Right next to it, 7 o'clock position, there is a mute button. It starts with M, capital M. Please go and push that button on your computer so that we can have a fantastic discussion. It's a great honor and privilege. And by the way, next time somebody is speaking, we'll call out the names here. I think that is the best way to. Yeah, somebody is in the market buying vegetables. We can hear the background noise. I think until unless people get mute, there's no point in continuing. Can you please, so Mr. Girish NR, could you please mute yourself? I request Dr. Ray from the PVPI, if you are finding that somebody is unable to mute or is not interested, it's best that you drop them from the lecture. There's no point in wasting everybody's time. So yeah, okay. So great. Now, thank you everyone. Let's begin. It's a great honor and privilege to welcome Professor Y.K. Gupta. So Professor Y.K. Gupta has been a mentor to me at All India Institute of Medical Sciences, and ever since I have joined the industry, ever since I have been in this area of pharmacovigilance, and it's been a remarkable journey. Every step of the way, I have learned so many things from him, and today, as his student, it's a great honor and privilege to get the opportunity to moderate this session and interview him. So thank you very much, sir, for your time. And I know you're traveling internationally, yet you found time to speak at this particular conference and this particular celebration of the Patient Safety Week. I think that in itself is a great reflection of how passionate you are about this subject. So this whole journey started many, many years back, and I recollect that that you've been at the center stage of this journey right from the beginning. It'll be great to hear from you if you could walk us through that journey of PVPI from start, and then what were the various milestones you crossed on the way. I think it will be such an inspiring journey for all the listeners over here. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vivek. And first of all, I must compliment and congratulate IPC and the entire team of Dr. Jayaprakash, for organizing this wonderful conference. And I also see, and I am also enthused with the presence of Dr. Suparna, Manoj, Vishal, Harun, Ashok Sinoy, and Anup from DIPSAR, and many, many other very familiar names I can see in the grid. So my thanks to them for attending this. And it is a very, very thrilling experience to talk from Switzerland, where I am sitting to you on this. When you said that about the journey of the pharmacovigilance in India, I recall that in 2009, there was a parliament question, three parliament question on medicine safety, particularly the question of nimesulide, question of pioglitazone came. And then I was sent by the drug controller and the Ministry of Health to the residence of third then health minister, Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad. And I explained him. He said, this was still discussion went from 10 p.m. to midnight. And then he explained why this happens when the drugs come after so much of testing. And I explained the process. And then he said, why and how we can prevent it. I think then I told him that you have to invest money in this. And then he said, let us start the pharmacovigilance program of India. And that was, I say that I give this example, converting adversary into opportunity. And that's what he gave the example in parliament. And that was the beginning of pharmacovigilance program of India at All India Institute of Medical Sciences in 2010 with 10 centers. And now you can see how much grown it is now. One of the largest, not one of the largest, it's the largest program of the pharmacovigilance program of the world. Now we have 850 centers under Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission, which includes 650 medical colleges, corporate hospitals, and all the programs in this. The second important thing that me, myself, and the then DCGI and two, three other members went to the then Dr. Ranjit Rai Chaudhary, who was the member of Medical Council of India, and he pushed it. And ultimately, result was that all medical colleges, it became mandatory to have a pharmacovigilance unit. No medical college can have license unless they have a pharmacovigilance unit. It is different. It is different issue that how seriously they are working. That is up to us. But the government has made it mandatory. Now that has opened a huge scope of pharmacovigilance associate. Now, this is something, another important issue which we should be proud of, the India should be proud of. One is the largest program of pharmacovigilance in the world. There is only country where all the medical colleges is mandatory. And the third thing is that at the time of 2010, we had a roundtable discussion at our AIMS, which was attended by all the officials from ministry and the DCGI. They Uppsala Monitoring Center was charging $5,000 for using their program for feeding our data into that program. That program was charging $5,000 per month, and the grant was stopped somehow because it was not renewed. We argued with them, and then ultimately they agreed based on our postulation that we will have a huge data from our program and that data will strengthen them. Now, that is the power of data. And not only that, they abolished the waived off $5,000, but they also agreed to support in all technical manner our team. Now our vision is to develop our own system and lead in the world. That is what we are proud of. Then today, we are also proud of the Pharmacovigilance Program of India, IPC. Tremendous effort they have done. They have trained through nearly 600 training. And I would also say the Suparna is here, Vikas is here, and all those people are providing regional centers for training. We have developed 4 or 6 regional centers for training, and we have trained more than 2 lakh of healthcare professionals. There was a time when I used to attend the meetings of pharmacovigilance. My wife used to say that the pharmacovigilance, why are you going to attend the vigilance? This is the not job of pharmacologists. That means at that time it was the unknown term. Now it has become the buzzword. So we are proud of our achievements, but when we talk of this, people clap. And I always say each clap gives us a challenge because this is the tip of iceberg which we have achieved and a lot of things we have to achieve. So that is what the journey of this is so far.
Great. Thank you, sir. Thank you for describing this journey. And you mentioned that it is the largest program in the world today, and that's because of the sheer number of adverse drug monitoring centers that have been set up. But with your permission, let me ask you a challenging question. We say it's the largest program in the world, but how much impact has it actually made in improving the awareness of this subject in the country and also in actually elevating the patient safety standards in our country?
I think this is a bit a difficult question, challenging question to answer as well. But I would say when we were drafting the objectives, the mission vision of the pharmacovigilance PVPI program, the first objective was to create, it was not to create artificial intelligence, to do pharmacogenomics, and so on and so forth. The first objective was to create awareness in public and healthcare professional about pharmacovigilance. And as I said, even 20, 30 years experience doctors like my wife was not aware of this. Today, this has become buzzword. Is known as an important aspect. Today, the government of India is putting this as the maximum important subject in the medicine. So we have achieved, number one, we have achieved our first objective, that creating awareness, but it's still a lot to go. It has to go to the public as well. If I say what you said as this is, we have a strong signal review panel. And I chair that signal review panel, and we have a large number of experts in that. Each ADR, adverse drug reaction, which comes from the what you say in your talk, is it the data. And when data is datum, then the data, then the information, then the knowledge. Knowledge is also not useful unless it is converted into wisdom. So wisdom, and we analyze that. And just to tell you, we have so far generated 12 signals, and these signals are such that will create caution or how this drug is to be given, that may create a case whether the drug can be withdrawn. And this has been generated, and 156 patient safety alerts have been issued. Now, these patient safety alerts become the basis of many times the change in the brochure, change in the PIS, and also important message for the industry. Now, the so this is something which is very important, and I would say the major challenge still remains, as you said. It's not that we have been able to do that, but the am I audible, Dr. Vivek?
Yes, yes, sir. You're audible. Please continue. We're listening.
Okay, because my picture is gone somehow. My audio has gone, maybe corrected. But the major challenge is that to translate these advantage into what I call as a how many patients have been benefited, how many possible ADRs could have been prevented, and what is the how many deaths could have been prevented. So convert this into the pharmacoeconomic impact, convert this into health economic impact, and convert this. We have incidentally the data that how much cost it costs for prevention of the head injury, how much cost economic to the nation when it is the diabetes prevention. But we should also calculate the how much money it can save in terms of how much human resource it can save if we have the effect on the economic effect or health effect. So that is something is still pending, still it need to be done.
Great. So thank you very much. You see that there are a lot of students, budding scientists, students, and young professionals who are aspiring to pursue a career in pharmacovigilance. What, in your opinion, are the potential research areas that you would like to give these students further guidance on in the area of pharmacovigilance? What are those research questions that come to your mind, and these students can actually get inspired by those questions and pursue those research projects?
I'm happy that you asked this question because many times our research associate, when I interview them, when I talk to them, our pharmacovigilance associates, and I also motivate my MD students at that time that why don't you take a pharmacovigilance as a PhD option? So people, teachers, even the professors used to ask me, sir, इसमें तो कोई research topic नहीं, sir, there is hardly any research area in this. So to tell them, I think this is one of the most neglected research area. It has so many research questions, particularly if I say the research question on health economics. And I just said it, health economics starts from how much government is investing on this and how much better a return on investment we are getting it. And return of investment in this is of two type. How much return of investment you get in terms of prevention of preventable ADR, and how much deaths could prevent, and what is the cost of that. And number two, what is the cost had if the admissions could have been there, and what is the benefit if you have a right risk mitigation strategy. And incidentally, we do not have a risk mitigation strategy as a mandatory requirement for industry to provide it. So if that is what we are in the policy making forum, we are putting it, and maybe in next 2 3 years, that will become also mandatory. So the health economics is one of the important research area. The important thing is how we can prevent it. Is the pharmacogenomics. Now the government of India is also trying to fund it pharmacogenomics. Just the first evidence, success evidence, came with the carbamazepine induced Stephen Johnson syndrome. And it was found that there is a specific gene actually. And if this gene you can screen, then you can prevent 90% of the Stephen Johnson syndrome, and 10% of them can become fatal also. Now, this has become a routine practice in many centers that you screen them for this gene and don't give the carbamazepine, and therefore preventable serious ADR can be done. And that's why the area of research could be what are the genes which are involved in ADR, particularly in the narrow therapeutic window drugs. When you say narrow therapeutic window drugs like anticoagulant, anti-cancer, anti-epileptics, and so on and so forth, and also other drugs which are have a serious, maybe aminoglycoside, ototoxicity, things like that. And if we identify that gene which is being done, which has been many success stories. Recently, we had a meeting in Chennai. Then the next thing would be to convert this identified gene into public facility. That means you develop a chip which is today expensive. Gene analysis, genomic analysis is expensive, but you have seen the COVID time when the whole genome sequencing from 50,000 to 10,000, and now it is 4 or 5,000. And our effort is that if we can make it 4 or 500 rupees, then it would be possible that when you start this therapy, you have the screening of the gene, and then you start the treatment preventing ADR, and that is called as preventive or predictive pharmacovigilance. And that is something which is a great contribution of science. And this is something which is also important, particularly AMR, antimicrobial resistance, for which I am advising the government of India as well as the global antibiotic resistance and development antibiotic development program GARD-P. I am principal advisor to that. And in this, you see if there is a possibility of resistance because of resistance of piperacillin, tazobactam, or any higher antibiotic. What could be the reason for that? So it is not only the adverse event which is as a pharmacovigilance, but it is also the non-effectiveness of otherwise supposed to be effective drug is also pharmacovigilance. For example, if you have a artemisinin not effective in some cases, is it because of resistance? Is it because of spurious drug? Is it because of non-compliance or non-adherence? This is also a part of pharmacovigilance. And identifying that what could be the genomic analysis by which you can prevent this is also a pharmacovigilance, is a research area. Similarly, another research area which I would suggest, I'm just giving a tip of the iceberg again, because I have huge list of research areas. If anybody is interested, can ask me later, is the repurposing of the drug. And the repurposing of the drug, thalidomide was once upon a time is the genesis of pharmacovigilance, if I say. And now thalidomide has been repurposed for cancer. Is repurposed for a couple of other drugs. The aspirin, everybody knows, was primarily anti-inflammatory and analgesic. But when it was seen that this can cause bleeding, and then you identified that what could be the reason of this, now it is one of the largest, and nobody uses for this analgesic antipyretic, but it is used hugely for cardiac prevention and small dose. So if you can do that type of analysis, repurposing of the drug is one of the important offshoot of the pharmacovigilance understanding. I think we can think of large number of research areas, provided you open your eyes, and each case of ADR, when you do causality assessment, is itself is a topic of thesis which you can see. So I stop it here.
Thank you, sir. Wonderful insights, and I think it'll inspire a new generation of research in pharmacovigilance. And so let us now change gears and discuss some even more interesting topics. And I call this section Answer in Only 280 Characters section. Like Twitter allows only a limited space to respond in 280 characters. So you have to respond in only a few phrases or minimum a couple of sentences. So first question, given that there are so many nuances and factors that lead to hesitancy in reporting of adverse events. What is that one message that you would like to give, especially to doctors, especially to healthcare physicians, because they are closest to the patient?
In brief, in India, the average time contact, which is called the interaction time between the doctor and patient, is 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes average. And the doctor is always hesitant to put this time into this rather than getting patient interaction for other things. However, it must be considered by that doctor that reporting adverse reaction is a service to the nation, is service to the health profession, because the data which you are generating will become part of the information, will become part of the knowledge, and it will be converted into wisdom, and then it will entirely benefit you and the health society how to prevent adverse drug reaction. That will help in continuous reassessing the benefit and the risk of a drug, and ultimately safe therapeutics.
Great, thank you, sir. So let's talk about the patient, because it's patient is at the center of all of this. So a patient is actually an innocent bystander in this whole ecosystem, uh, and patient is actually centric to what every strategy we design to collect more knowledge on these products. So what is your suggestion on how can we make patient an integral part of this value chain?
Great question. If I say who is the sufferer, ultimately for ADR, the patient is the sufferer. Who is the beneficiary of, ultimate beneficiary of this? Is the patient. And therefore, it is a must that patient should be integral part of this system. It is important that patient should be also be able to report it, and therefore patient empowerment for pharmacovigilance. If you use the term pharmacovigilance, causality assessment, is to bombard this term to patient, he will turn his face. And that's why in even in WHO meeting we said that for public the pharmacovigilance word should be replaced by medicine safety. So for us, pharmacovigilance, causality assessment, access analysis, and this and that is fine. But then for patient, it has to be simple term for patient by patient is important thing. So, and IPC has done quite a good effort for that, for involving patient into the reporting system accurately and as much as possible correctly.
Thank you, sir. Message well taken, sir. Now I'll stop coining these terms like pharmacodiligence, intelligence, relevance.
No, no, that's good. That's good for us, but that's not good for the public.
Absolutely, sir.
So we have to
So,
use two language, one for language for hardcore pharmacovigilance professional and the soft public.
absolutely, sir. And our country is actually very well known for its vibrant festivals. And we're celebrating Patient Safety Week, as you know, and globally it's being celebrated. Can you describe how all the people who are involved in this method, in this value chain of patient safety, how can we all come together to celebrate patient safety successes, not in just this week, but throughout the year?
I think India is the country where the maximum festivals are celebrated with joy, enthusiasm, firecracking, and things like that. Now, we are also celebrating the Pharmacovigilance or Medicine Safety Week. And I think this is a well connected. Indian Pharmacopoeia started this Pharmacovigilance Week today. I have information from my the connectivity that more than 500 medical colleges out of 650 has organized some or the other event in this week, and that is also success of our PVPI. Several other corporate hospitals, even Apollo, Medanta, they have organized the Medicine Safety Week. Globally, This is being celebrated. Nearly 200 countries which are member of the WHO Pharmacomedicine Safety, and I am part of that network, have been sending the reports of how they have celebrated. So now when you celebrate, it should not be a celebration for a week. The diffusion of this enthusiasm should continue till the next week, means the next year. And particularly when you talk of a pharmacovigilance, which requires hammering again and again, because this is the enthusiasm becomes like this in the week, and then it nosedives within 15 days. And therefore, continuous infusion of energy of this is important.
Thank you, sir. You exceeded 280 characters, but anything for you, sir. So, what should the pharmaceutical industry do to ensure that the marriage of quality care and the marriage of safety is a success story? You see, quality and safety are interlinked.
You hit the nail. The quality of medicine is the first thing for the medicine safety. And we have been many times, India has been put on a complete white canvas, wider canvas of what we call as a India is a hub of generic medicine, the word. But there are some black spots often come. This is because the quality of medicine. And the quality of medicine and the safety of the patient safety cannot be separated. And therefore, I am very happy, and everybody should be happy, that the government of India has issued a notice that all companies with 250 crore above turnover has to follow the revised GMP within 6 months and rest within 12 months. This is a very welcome step, because if there is a quality, automatically the quality related or of poor quality related adverse reaction can be prevented. And this is something which is should be taken very seriously and urgently by all the pharmaceutical industry. They are doing it, and I congratulate all the industries because they are initiated steps in that.
Thank you, sir. So, with that, I think
Uh, Rick, I think you have concluding, it seems. But having you asked me so many questions, sometimes giving me limit, I also ask you, you represent industry, isn't it? You have been working for pharmaceutical industry for so many years. Tell me what is the current status of pharmacovigilance in pharmaceutical industry? Because you have a lot of challenges for the global rules, regulations. So how you handle it, or how pharmaceutical industry handles it?
well, I wasn't prepared to be the interviewee here, but I will try my best to answer the question. So, I think the pharmaceutical industry has come of age, as I'm observing. I started doing pharmacovigilance way back in 2001 as part of the clinical trials related pharmacovigilance, and then 2005 onwards, we set forth to build one of the uh, biggest pharmacovigilance systems in India. At that time, nobody knew about this bird called pharmacovigilance. I said the bird, not the word. And now, over the years, I think it has become so important that in the past couple of years, specifically, when COVID was all widespread, you could see on the front page of the Economic Times that the word adverse event was getting mentioned, and every citizen of the country knew about something that adverse events can be caused. So a lot of these things are actually, a lot of awareness has gone, and a lot of this this credit goes to the government, the PVPI, and the pharmaceutical industry, the physicians, all the stakeholders. All of them have worked tirelessly to increase awareness about this. In terms of the pharmaceutical industry, I see that early years there were very few companies who would adopt these pharmacovigilance systems. But now, pretty much all the pharmaceutical companies they are following the pharmacovigilance systems. Of course, there can be standards that some may be following very stringent standards, some may not be following that level of stringency, and there's always room for improvement. India has also made its mark globally. The number of adverse events that are collected through this pharmacovigilance program that has improved over the years tremendously. And India is actually the global capital of pharmacovigilance outsourcing now. If you put together all the number of pharmacovigilance professionals across the world and you add the same number for India, I can tell you that the number in India exceeds the sum total of all the PV professionals across the world, because more than 50-60% to the best of my estimates, pharmacovigilance work is outsourced to India. And that in itself, it's like the IT industry boom, it's like the pharmacovigilance industry boom that has happened in the past few years. And things are going to also take center stage again with the advent of technology, because India is very strong in technology as well. And that's how things are going to change for even better terms in the future as more and more adoption of technology comes into the picture.
I think you have given another very good avenue for the new generation who are looking for career. That will be wonderful thing, and that the India is the major country, is the important country where so many pharmacovigilance work are being referred to Indian thing. Can you also just comment on? See, when we have a huge data, maybe we are getting 2 lakhs ADR today, maybe it will become 5 lakhs. My target is it should be 5 lakhs per year. But then it becomes a noise. And to convert this noise into meaningful music, that means what is struggling for, maybe how we have to generate signal generation and things like that. And so you have to use the technology, as you rightly said. And also, we have to use artificial intelligence to predict much earlier than that. So, how you feel that these two are being followed in industry? Because this is what we are also trying to put it as a thrust area in DBT and ICMR. So, what is the challenges in this? What you feel?
Thank you, sir. That's a very interesting question, and it's very pertinent to current times. Things like generative AI, like ChatGPT, it's caused a huge wave all over. Things like AI, ML, these are the buzzwords. There is, I think nowadays, there is pretty much no conference where there is a topic being discussed about AI, ML, because that's something which is now inevitable. As I said in one of my slides, it's not AI that's going to replace us. It's people who use AI will replace us. So, do we want to be on this side or do we want to be on the other side? I think it's better that we be on the other side and we each one of us work towards being that person who's using AI for the benefit of everybody. So, the adoption of these technologies is going to happen largely in the areas which are manual, repetitive work, which machines can do, and humans should actually focus more on areas where it requires an application of medical science, it requires an application of scientific deduction. Those are the areas where humans could focus on, and machines will continue to assist humans. So it's never that these machines are going to replace humans. It's always going to be human in the command approach. And the way to solve this is that you make the machines do the work for you. And then on top of that, you put your knowledge and your experience and your scientific ability to be able to deduce the conclusion out of it. And that is the conclusion that we all should be spending more time on, rather than spending more time and energy on collecting data and processing data, which machines can do for us.
I think you have given a very right message to us. Thank you, Vic. Sorry, I questioned you. You were not expecting it, but you answered very well.
Thank you,
I
sir.
give you 100 out of 100.
Thank you very much, sir. It's an honor. So I think we're now coming to the end of this interview session, very interesting and captivating interview session. So as a parting message, sir, what is that one message that you would like to give to all the listeners of this interview?
Okay. If I say the most important thing in national medicine safety or pharmacovigilance is the political will, which the government has shown. The support, the funding, the administrative support which it has given is political will. And the number two, you said one, but I will therefore I put a comma, not to complete sentence, and the coordinated effort of public, patients. When I say patient, public means not patient, but patient, public, policymakers, the regulator, the industry, and the media. Because that will cover it. So all when together will work, I think we will have rational therapeutics. Less ADR, more efficient. And risk benefit of therapy will be much better. Over. I will use comma to make one sentence.
Sure. Great. Thank you very much, sir. It was a very enlightening session, and thank you to all the listeners for patiently listening. I hope it was useful to all of you, and you got some inspiring messages that will go a long way in shaping the future of pharmacovigilance in our country. And thank you very much to IPC and the PVPI program for organizing this interview session. I think the leadership that you are providing to the rest of the country in being the torchbearer for pharmacovigilance, I think that's going to leave an indelible mark on everybody's mind. Thank you very much, sir, and thank you very much to all the listeners and to PVPI.
Yes, sir.
Dear participants, the session is open for questions from audience. You can ask any query if you have.
I can see some people clapping, and my appreciation to them. Thank you to them for listening. But I would say that as and when we meet, we must promote medicine safety, and I think that was a wonderful experience for me.
So there is one question that I see in the chat window, which is what are the changes or advancements we can expect in coming days in India in terms of pharmacovigilance regulatory requirements? Would you like to take that question, sir?
There are two things. One, I would say that the pharmacovigilance regulatory requirement, we have been discussing this, can it be made mandatory in India? But we are not yet mature because for that, but we have said that for industry, this has to be mandatory reporting. That's one thing. And then the pharmacovigilance and PSUR is being very well knit now. So PSAR for industry is now going to be mandatory, not now, but maybe in some time is on the line to be integrated, to be must to be sent to the PVPI, and therefore PVPI become a grid for all the pharmacovigilance data coming from the industry, coming from the different national programs, and then this will be one window system for computation of the adverse drug reaction so that we can generate signals in a much better. That's it. Of course, the reporting times, they are not going to talk on that, but that's one.
There's one question that why is this Patient Safety Week celebrated in September? Well, uh, I'll begin, and sir, if you can please also add to it. I think it should be celebrated every day. If we can prevent adverse events, that's enough a cause of celebration for us every day. Now, having said that, the World Patient Safety Day was established by the World Health Assembly in 2019 through a resolution, which is Global Action on Patient Safety. That's how they recognized this as a day, and that's how this is being followed by everybody across the world. So there's another question, which is, although pharmacovigilance is a responsibility of every citizen, including pharmacy professionals, when it will be a core activity of a community and hospital pharmacists?
Absolutely. I think you have raised a very pertinent question. And I, being now chair of the revision of the Pharmacy Act and also to give suggestion on the pharmacy education, in this has been suggested that the pharmacovigilance should be one of the core activity in training and teaching of the Pharm D and M Pharma students. Because unless, and you must know one thing, that the top of pharmacovigilance professionals in the world, 80% of them are pharmacy background. 80% of them. And therefore, this has to be the pharmacy person. And if a pharmacist gets empowered to talk about and he does his job properly, and that's why one or two of the software have been made, and I am advising in IIT startup which is KYP, know your prescription, that if the pharmacist explain that this could be the prescription, with this are the possible adverse effect and how you can prevent it to the patient. Simple adverse effect which are preventable can be done. And that's why pharmacy is a pillar, I would say. It's not the medical doctor, I would say he is the second pillar. But the first pillar is the pharmacy graduate.
So there's a question from Dr. Nandini from by the Institute of Medical Sciences, Bangalore. And I must tell you, it's a fantastic institute. I recently had the opportunity to go there for a conference. Uh, Clinicians still ask what is the difference between side effects and ADR and are not interested in reporting how to orient them. So, Dr. Nandini, I'll begin. Side effects and ADR are same thing. I think what you meant to say is that what are known adverse drug reactions and what are unknown adverse drug reactions. And so known adverse drug reactions, they must be, lovingly calling it as side effects because, they must be thinking that these are known adverse drug reactions. Why do we need to report them? We need to report only the unknown adverse drug reactions. Well, actually, you need to report all of them because one is that you find something which is unusual and unexpected and yet related to the suspect product. The other is that even the known adverse drug reactions, if you suddenly find a high frequency of that particular known expected adverse drug reaction, then also it should raise an alarm. So known, unknown, which means expected, unexpected, related, unrelated, all of those need to be reported. Sir, any comment from your
I will
side?
I will add to what Vivek has very rightfully said. When we read our textbook of pharmacology or medicine, the adverse drug reaction incidents are not from India. These are reported, the data are compiled, collated from the Western world. And India is not Europe. Europe is not India. The diarrhea which is reported by ampicillin, 20% in Western population, is not true for India. It's not true for India, but people have not generated this simple data in India. We have done an experiment long back when I was in Maulana Azad in 1980s. The people used to come to India with a bottle of packaged water, Bisleri, because the risk of diarrhea. They suffer from diarrhea when they come India and that's why they take Bisleri. But when Indian people go to Europe, they suffer from constipation, not from diarrhea. And we did a simple experiment that in one group we gave the Bisleri water, a packaged water to students, and other group it was continued to be normal. And we found that those who took Bisleri, the incidence of diarrhea was 1.6 times more those who took packaged Bisleri water in India. The message is the side effects in India are not the same as side effects in Europe or other part of the world. And therefore, when you report all side effects, we can create a database of our own system. And the textbook will mention now that this is the Indian data.
There's one question and actually a request from one of the participants, and the request is that uh, one second. The request is that can I get an appointment from Dr. Gupta to talk about how patient affordability and how it is impacting poverty. So, with your permission, sir,
Oh, this will be a wonderful topic, and I would suggest who has asked this question to organize a session on this, and I will be happy to participate in it.
Great, sir. I've
And
also
I will bring one or two economists also in that. It will be a wonderful topic, I must say.
what I've also done with your permission, sir, is shared your email ID with particularly with that.
It will be pleasure for me
Thank
to
you, sir.
work with you.
So, is it possible to make it a mandatory training and reporting in CRRI period and mandatory to get completion certificate? Could you please
What is it?
elaborate the meaning of CRRI, this acronym? I am not aware of this acronym, please. Okay.
Sir, I'm Dr. Bhuneshwari.
Mm-hmm.
I'm coordinator for PhD at ADR Monitoring Center, Coimbatore. CRR is that is the compulsory rotatory training internship program, sir. The final training program after 4.5 years program in MBBS. During that program, 1 year when they are exposed to the patient care under training, that time itself we are able to make them to promote adverse drug reaction reporting. It become a habit when they go out as an individual physician. So that's the reason I raised this question, sir.
No, I agree with you, and I agree with you. We have written this to NMC also that
Thank you, sir.
the pharmacovigilance should be made integral part during internship.
Thank
So
you. Thank you very much, sir.
I think I would be very happy if you write your idea in email. That will
Okay,
strengthen,
sir.
and because in NMC or any organization, it's very difficult to move them. But
Okay, sir.
if we are persistent, it works. And
Okay.
particularly for the internship, which we are for pharmacy graduates,
Yes, sir.
Form D, this is being made compulsory.
Okay, sir. I feel it is important for the
Yes,
physicians also
yes,
because some
yes.
sort of resistance we feel when we approach them to report adverse drug reaction.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
this can be overcome during the early training period itself. So
No,
that's the reason I raised this question, sir.
very important.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. I will do it, sir. Thank you.
Just send me an email.
Sure, sure.
Vivek has
Okay, sir.
shared my
Thank you.
email. I will be very happy to take it further.
Sure, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
How people are still not aware about ADR reporting. How can we spread awareness at a high rate? That's a question from one of the participants.
I think I will ask Vivek also to answer this, and I think all the leaders here, Suparna, Mano, Vishal, Ashok, Anup, and many others, they can. And this has been the quiz session in one of the Indian Pharmacological Society competition that tell us the best way how we can communicate this, train that. People said that they will put the posters. People said that this will be the simple method of communication by the radio slogans, by this and that. Multiple approaches will only work. It's not simple. To penetrate into the public, you have to talk in the language of public, which they understand. If you talk to them in a very high molecular language, it will just understanding will be just a molecule size. If you talk in a larger context, then I think they will understand it better, reporting. So I think it's a continuous effort, multimodal system, multi-language system, and use of technology.
Thank you, sir.
No
Hello,
one
sir.
answer.
Hello, sir. Myself Dinesh Wag. I'm working as a manager in Panasha Biotech. So, according, I just you said something regarding the IDR reporting. My question is related to that. So, I want to ask that PBPI program is launched in 2010, and
11.
after that,
10, sorry.
yeah, yeah, and after that, we like yearly we seen many of the issued in public interest advertisements from government, from Ministry of Health and Welfare. but we haven't seen any PVPI advertisement regarding that. Like there is a PVPI app, ADR PVPI app on on the Android, but we haven't seen any of the commercial by government of India on the televisions or DD National or something like that. Because many of times when I interact with the people, they ask me that whether any app is there or any what is the source that we can give our inputs regarding the ADRs. If we incur any ADR, where we can report. So I think this will be the best idea for the government to broadcast a TV commercial like Janhit Mein Jari or something like that. But maybe in future they can do that. I just want to ask you, why is there anything is there or government like that in the
I
future?
your Dinesh, your your vision is very well appreciated. The only thing
Thank you,
is
sir.
to convince the media management of government. We have to make an effort. We have to sell our product, and we can sell the product when we make it important to the government. And that is what now the stage has come. Now, through this all this awareness week and the medicine safety government of India is doing, the media is now keen to that. And I think that it would be, we will all effort, collective effort. I think we will be able to do that. But your point is very, very well taken. Government
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
must put enough time for preventive things. I think that is very important. And if I am the health minister or I am the information and broadcasting minister, I will cut down the time of unnecessary advertisement, make them more and more expensive. And instead of that, we will insert these type of message time at the cost of what you're doing for soap selling and shampoo selling.
I think current our PM is very well active in on
Yes.
the so
We
maybe
must,
he
we
is active
must.
on social media. He can give many more weightage to pharmacovigilance as well, so
And
that it is
and and
popular
and
in
and
India as well.
and, and I have got an idea that I will make a draft with your help and everybody's help to send to PM to talk this on his next Mann Ki Baat.
Thank you very much, sir.
Hello, sir.
Very good idea.
Hello,
I
sir.
have,
Harun.
yeah.
Sir, I want to first of all
Currently
congratulate
studied
IPC for this wonderful
in Delhi
session.
only, and I would like
It is always nice to hear from Professor Y.K. Gupta, sir. Sir, when I joined in AIMS under PATH project, the pharmacovigilance was new to me and new to my colleagues. Those were medicos. But after 9 years, I'm seeing here in Srinagar, 5 medical colleges from last 3 days are celebrating this pharmacovigilance program. So, as you said, sir, our first objective that was the awareness in medical colleges and other like academic institutes that has been met. And I want to congratulate Professor O.A.K. Gupta, sir, for that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Arun. Thank you very much. And I see very good ideas coming out in the question chat. I take note of every idea. I think Vivek, you also
Yes, sir.
please note
Yeah. I'm
so
just
that we
going to
can
the next
compile
question,
them.
sir. Yeah.
And
Yeah. So one question is, can you share the list of courses that as PV associates one should opt for? I would really appreciate your help. So as I think the courses that one needs to uh, see, you don't need to enroll particularly for any courses unless you want to gain a little bit more of an advanced knowledge. So basic knowledge is all available on YouTube. You just go there. All I'm requesting is the amount of time that you spend on Instagram Reels, spend the same amount of time on LinkedIn, spend the same amount of time on YouTube looking for pharmacovigilance lectures, listen to the topics over there, read the pharmacovigilance regulations, and then if you want to do courses, there are several courses that are available that one can pursue in the market. So, and look for courses that have better affiliations with different universities or with any life science sector, skill development council, and so on and so forth. So then there are more questions. I will just quickly scroll down, and sir, if you have a few more minutes, we'll just quickly attend to those questions as well. There's one point which was said, pharmacovigilance study of other systems of medicine is also important. I just wanted to highlight that. Then I think this point has already been covered in some way, how to motivate a layman to report. Then how can we lessen the use of antibiotics? What are the alternatives? Then do you think the field of PV audits and inspections can also be taken over by AI? Well, AI is not going to take over any of our areas. AI is going to be our assistant. So it's us that we need to find out how we can use AI as our assistant. So humans will always remain in command, and it is upon us how we deploy AI to make sure that it eases our jobs and it so that we can spend time on meaningful things rather than spending time on things which are didactic in nature or redundant in nature.
One question I see that how to report challenges faced by the healthcare professional during ADR. I think it is important point. So if you can report message all the challenges into IPC, we can organize one day a session on this, that how to overcome this. What can be there cannot be one solution. There can be multiple mechanisms. So we can work it out. And this can itself be a good publication, I would say. That what are the ground reality? Ground reality we have not documented yet, but the ground reality we have documented for US and Canada and Europe. But what are the ground realities? Why the hesitancy in India? Is this the time? Not, or it is the lack of incentive, it is the lack of awareness, lack of education. So I think maybe the person who has written that itself can indeed take initiative. I will be very happy to assist.
Then there are questions, sir, about where to get internship in pharmacovigilance. So internships are, you see, again, all these jobs are usually available on the LinkedIn portal. That's where all the pharmaceutical industry actually advertises because that's the biggest portal where people from the industry interact with each other. So I think if you can keep an eye on that and also keep an eye on various websites of various pharmaceutical companies, and that is where they would give the advertisement for any kind of internships. You can also approach directly, write to those companies directly, take the email ID from the website, tell them that you would like to approach for internship, and so that it goes into their database, and if they're looking for people, then they can do it. Then there's another question, sir, that the in rural areas, people do not have much awareness about allergy or ADR. If they purchase medicine as OTC, and allergy means they stop the drugs and return to pharmacy. It is not possible for all of us to catch that. And then there's question on, as other national health programs are there in the textbook of medicine, community medicine, why PVPI is not mentioned anywhere? That's an excellent question.
One question I just saw, maybe if you may read it later, is that how can we reduce the fear of reporting in the healthcare professional because of the legal thing? We must tell them, that's what the education, that's what the awareness, that the reporting of ADR has immunity from legal thing. Provided that the difference is the medical negligence and the reporting of ADR. And why in corporate hospitals, because I am now ethics committee chairman of 4 or 5 corporate hospitals, they fear. The management does not encourage reporting of ADR because they feel that some of them will bounce back as a medical negligence. So we have to tell very clearly that this is immune with the medical negligence. This is not medical negligence. Reporting of ADR should be encouraged academically rewarding. And those corporate hospitals who have pharmacovigilance units, they are giving credit in NABH accreditation. So that's what it is. But practical issue.
Yes, sir. How can a clinical research student be part of pharmacovigilance who is not a pharmacist? Well, a clinical research, see, pharmacovigilance is not just post-marketing, post-authorization pharmacovigilance. Pharmacovigilance is an essential part during the investigational phase of the drug as well. So in the clinical research industry also, a lot of emphasis is laid on serious adverse event reporting from clinical trials, adverse event reporting of from clinical trials, medical monitoring during the clinical monitoring phase of the patient, the data on at the sites. So all this is part of the investigational product pharmacovigilance. So you can pursue a career there as well, not necessarily that you need to pursue a career only in post-authorization or post-marketing pharmacovigilance. Can we have such type of awareness program in schools on regular basis, not only in pharmacovigilance week?
I would say the one of the important thing which we have been talking about, give a balanced information about the medicine and the medicine, taking medicine, safe use of medicine in the school. This is something which has been also suggested, but I think we need to take a concrete step. I would need volunteers who can create a capsule, because giving detailed information of medicine will be risky. Half information because they will not understand. So balanced information which will increase the awareness how to use it. And I am seeing in Switzerland here how much emphasis they give in school for traffic regulation following. I think this is tremendous. No child will allow me to cross, even walk when when there is a red light or things like that. So that much awareness in 8-year school boy. So why not we create the medicine awareness also? Not to take medicine unless the doctor is prescribed. It's something like that. It's a very important issue, but very balanced. Let us make a capsule and give it to Ministry of HR.
So as of now, ADR reporting is voluntary. Can we make it mandatory?
It's very difficult to make it mandatory till the system matures, because as on date, we are creating still awareness and maturing the system. And ultimately, I think very 2 or 3 countries have could make it mandatory, because but in clinical trial this is mandatory. So gradually, when the system matures, then this for AEFI it is mandatory, for the vaccines it is mandatory. So now to make it this as a mandatory is a wish which will take time.
Yeah. So there's one
Sir,
question which is, yes,
sir,
there's one.
I'm Dr. Bhuvneshwari. Can
Sure,
I make another question, sir?
sure, please.
I can see Dr. Sangeeta also. Dr. Sangeeta, namaskar.
Uh,
Yes.
program
Hello.
to report, but
Namaskar.
still we feel very. Hello, am I audible, sir?
Yes,
Yes,
Dr.
Dr.
Yeah,
Bhuvaneshwari,
Bhuvaneshwari.
please
yeah,
continue.
sir. Yeah, it's very difficult to motivate the general practitioners, and majority of the people are not aware of the program. They are not knowing the concept of what is pharmacovigilance. Why should we report to the government or the neighboring centers? So, is it any way we can approach or spread this program through IMA and other any official body for making these people to report pharmacovigilance to the neighboring centers, sir?
IMA, Indian Medical Association, is now an
Association, yes, sir.
integral part of pharmacovigilance program of India. I
Okay.
have particularly been participating in many state IMA branches for this. But what you said is absolutely true. This may be changed, picture may change when the current generation of MBBS who are being exposed to pharmacovigilance and medicine safety will go into private practice. But for the today's practicing people, the reporting of ADR is of non-consequential importance. They don't want, because what will they get out of it? If I am reporting as a practitioner 10 ADR, my nearby practitioner will say, oh, don't go to this practitioner. He only creates ADR. So these type of not political, these type of practical challenges are there. So maybe through IMA, local IMA and these bodies, it can be promoted, which is difficult, but it has to be done. And that's why the media, the television
Who is
media and
there?
all those things can be important.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
One of the comments that has come is, sir, it was a very informative session. Can we have this type of informative sessions regularly to gain a good knowledge? And I can tell you, sir, I have attended many webinars in my career. I have never seen so many questions and so much engagement from the audience ever in any kind of session. I think that credit goes to you that you are patiently answering all the questions and giving them meaningful feedback, which will be beneficial for everybody. So thank you very much for patiently listening.
I would just give one comment to this. I am not answering all the questions because I'm not capable of, but I'm capable of discussion on all the questions and coming out to some possible tangent solution which we can jointly work on. And that's why all the people who are making these questions, to me, they're the leaders or the future leaders of pharmacovigilance. Any person who has raised any question, that means he has thought about it. That's why he's raising question. And any person who is not able to question on this chat must be having question in mind. That means he is also a future leader of pharmacovigilance. So raise questions, find solutions. This is not an easy thing. This will remain tip of icebergs even in the best of the developed world. This is tip of the iceberg which is reported. But now we have a artificial intelligence to fill up this gap. Now we have a machine learning to fill up this gap, and therefore technology, newer and newer technology with the young generation can develop is the answer to this.
Absolutely, sir. And when I said you've been patient, it did not mean that there are no more questions. There are.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
There are-
May I ask one question, please, sir?
Sure, please go ahead.
Yeah, this is Lalit Pavaskar. Currently, for Indian pharmacovigilance practices, we are following guidance document for the PV for the marketing authorization holder of pharmaceutical products. But these are guidance document. Why don't we make it compulsory as like NDCT rule 2019?
Okay.
So
Can I take that question, sir? Yeah. So see, the worldwide, how does this work? There are regulations and there are guidance documents. But I can tell you from experience that guidance document is pretty much the regulation. Don't get misled by the word guidance, that guidance is not mandatory, right? So if there is any regulation across the world, whether it is by US FDA or by European regulation, and then there are GVP modules, these are all supporting the regulation, and similarly the guidance that we have in India is also supporting the regulation, and what is stated in the guidance is pretty much that's the roadmap or the guardrails or the blueprint that helps you achieve the compliance to the regulation in a much better way. So please do not ignore the guidance, consider that pretty much as a regulation in itself. There's another question that is related to this, which is that as per PV guidance document 2018, why most of PV responsibilities lie only with manufacturers and why not with marketeers? Well, let's understand the concept. See, the government and the CDSCO, they give approval to manufacture or market a particular drug, right? So in India, basically, the approval is given to manufacture. The term being used is manufacturers. Worldwide, the term that is used is marketing authorization holder. Eventually, basically, it's the point is the company who is taking the responsibility of that drug, and who should take responsibility of the safety profile of that drug or the patients who are impacted with that drug. Who should take that responsibility? Clearly the person or the company or the party who's going to make profit out of selling that drug. So with profit selling, with profit making also comes the responsibility of patient safety that comes inherently as a part of it. And that's why the PV guidance document expects that the manufacturers, the party who is taking the approval to sell that drug in the country, should take the responsibility of pharmacovigilance as well. So there's another question. I feel even registered nurse working in clinical settings also play an important role in reporting of ADR. What opportunities and trainings are available for registered nurses if they're interested in PV career? There are opportunities galore for registered nurses. Let me tell you one interesting thing. In US, most of the people who are in pharmacovigilance, they are registered nurses who pursue a career in pharmacovigilance. A lot of registered nurses pursue a
नाही
career
ह्यानेच
over
दिला
there.
विवेकने दिला विवेक आहुजा मला ऍक्च्युली वायके गुप्ताला विचारायचं होतं पण वायके
Sir,
गुप्ता
I think you can please put them on mute. There's some background talk. Okay. Then can we have QR coded prescriptions in near future for reporting adverse drug reactions? Would you like to take that question, please?
I couldn't read it. What is that QR coded prescription?
So the QR code that you can scan with your mobile and the information pops up.
I will like to discuss on this idea, but anything which is a technological driven, which can help this, will be very useful. I will not answer this, but certainly if this can work, we can work together. And as I said, there's one program which is a digital platform. It's already being tested for this also, but this QR is a very innovative concept we must work on. Vivek, I will just say Dr. Meera Desai called me. She wanted to add one little point, maybe for 10 seconds, if
Sure,
Meera is
please,
listening to me.
please.
If Dr. Meera is listening to me, I think she might have left. No problem.
There's another question. Recently, we had involved undergraduates via quiz, PGs via extempore competition, nursing students and PGs in the role of play competition, all enjoyed, including faculties and HODs of other departments, just for awareness of pharmacovigilance. As the response was noticeable, some competitive attitude or prize can increase enthusiasm at all levels. Excellent. And this is very encouraging. I can tell you that today, there is so much talk happening about patient safety, and that's a there was no talk about patient safety, let me tell you, maybe 10 years ago. And it was hard to make people understand what this word called and this bird called pharmacovigilance looks like, and what does it mean actually. So it's a complete sea change that we are seeing. You're asking how will more people become aware? They have already become aware. From zero to, if we have reached the level of maybe 70%, 80%, a lot of people have become aware, and there's always room for improvement. And it's like the kindling effect. One candle lights another candle, and then everybody celebrates Diwali.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, please.
I'm Priyanshi, and I'm currently pursuing MSc Pharmacovigilance and Clinical Research. My question is that how MH can strike a balance between fulfilling their ethical responsibility towards reporting ADR and as well as at the same time protecting their business interests.
Okay.
So,
So,
if I will ask Vivek to add it. I think not reporting ADR is unethical.
Yes,
And
definitely.
indeed, it is not, if I say it is not legal binding, but by any person not reporting unethical is against the interest of human health in larger protecting business interest. I think the ethical business is that which does not harm a patient, I would say. And I will add Vivek.
yeah, I think, see, there is no question of not reporting to protect business interests. The question itself doesn't arise. It is one's corporate responsibility to make sure that you protect the patients, do no harm. You can't harm a patient. So, and then there are rules, regulations, audits, inspections, which make sure that if somebody is not following the law of the land, then there are penalties for that. There are implications of that. So so everybody must, as it is, follow it. And if somebody is not following it, then there are systems in place to catch the people who are not following that. So fundamentally, there is no this question itself doesn't arise that one should even have the thought of not reporting to protect business.
Yes, sir, I agree with it. But my question was that once any of the company faces any of the pharmaceutical company faces that the ADR was reported with their own product, then how can a balance be ensured between these two factors?
See, reporting an ADR is on one's product doesn't mean that that product is bad. First of all, we have to remove that notion. I'll remind you, long back, there used to be an ad which on of Surf Excel. It used to be, the ad used to be Daag Achhe Hain. If somebody remembers that ad, it basically means that if there are side effects that are getting reported, then we are getting to know more about that particular product's benefit risk profile. It's not that that product is bad. One fundamental thing that we must understand is that every drug will have a side effect. So much so that if a drug does not have a side effect, you can safely presume that it does not have an effect either. That is the principle that you need to explain everybody. And it is no, I have not heard of any single company uh, who has been uh, implicated or who has actually suffered that, why are so many adverse events getting reported because of your products. If they are associated with product quality, absolutely, then it is an issue. But if they are not associated with product quality, then no manufacturer will be asked that question and has been asked that question. In fact, I have seen so many appreciation emails that come from PVPI. Thank you for reporting adverse drug events. They acknowledge those adverse drug event reporting, that thank you, you're contributing to patient safety by reporting more and more adverse events. Because you see, data is power. The more data we have, the more the possibility of us finding out something which is rare and something which we do not know.
So regarding,
Yeah.
sir,
Last
regarding AMC,
questions.
can I ask
Yeah.
one question, sir?
Yes, sir. In the interest of time, we'll have this as a last question, please.
Thank you,
So
sir. Thank you for
please go ahead.
permitting me. Sir, I am
Thank you.
Dr. Asogan from Professor Dr. Asogan from Pondicherry, sir. In Pondicherry, we have so many medical colleges. And if you see that already the regional center, Jitmar is there, which is already known for own AMC, actually ADR reporting monitoring center. Then followed with this is the Indira Gandhi Medical College for Research and Government Medical College is there. That is also made as AMC. Now, after one circular, all the private medical colleges are interested to come as AMC. So is it necessary to become all to be made as an AMC? Because mushrooming of AMC, I think is a burden for the institute as well as for this thing to divert the workload. Already one city is having so many medical colleges, already known two medical colleges made AMC. Why we need all the colleges to be made as AMC centers, sir?
Sorry, my apologies. I missed that question, but can you just ask? I could heard you last.
Sir, why we need to make all the medical colleges in a city to become as a AMC, sir? Already we know we had the famous regional center here. Chitmar is already AMC center here, and the government medical college is also AMC. AMC. It became AMC recently, and we are reporting to the areas to the AMC center, Indira Gandhi Medical College. We need, is it necessary to every medical college to become as a AMC center, sir?
The government has made it even in the recent circular from NMC has gone as latest as in 2083 to 23 in I think May or June. Maybe if somebody is from IPC is there, he can answer that all medical colleges have to have a pharmacovigilance center and report the ADR to PVPI. So this circular has gone. So this is for your information. So to best of my understanding, the NMC's direction is that all medical colleges, new, old, must have the centers. Unfortunately, many centers are there, but they are not functional. And many of those institutions, the centers have been recognized as AMC. But as a national scientific coordinator, we have sent a warning letter to those centers who have not been reporting for 3 consecutive months, zero reporting, and then they are sent warning, and again they are sent 3 warnings, and if they are not reporting, their center status is cancelled. Because this, when you have a center status, this gets a weightage in your NABH accreditation. So people say that they have opened the center, but there is not a single reporting. That is
Really, sir.
happening that has
So no,
happened.
all colleges were mad AMC, but no report were received from any
Yes,
college.
and that you can see that when I said in all newsletters this must be published, that which are the centers which are not reporting. So this will be deterrent for them for not doing no reporting, or at least to motivate them for reporting. But still many are not reporting. But they are saying that they have an AMC center. So they must be told clearly that yes, you're not reporting, center status is cancelled, password is given to somebody else. Because this is what is happening. I think we have to sensitize those colleges. The management is not interested in doing this because this is not productive science. This is just as somebody said before, this is not a thing which gives remuneration, but this gives an academic recognition, I would say.
Sure, sir. Thank you very much for.
Thank you, sir.
Is Dr. Meera in? Dr. Meera Desai? She is, I think, cut off.
So thank you very much. And there are more questions. Questions are still pouring in, and
I would suggest Dr. Vivek, if you can put note of all these questions which are coming up. Every question is so I would say important that it requires a brainstorming. And I think we have a tremendous idea. Never before I got so many ideas in any session. So these all ideas are worth discussing. I think Dr. Meera is here. Dr. Meera, you wanted to add something. You are mute. You are mute, Dr. Meera. Dr. Meera, you are mute.
yeah, I think the organizer has to unmute her. Yeah, now we can hear you.
So
Dr. Meera, now you start again.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. It was a pleasure listening to you, Dr. Vivek, and it was really very informative, inspiring sessions with the good question answers sessions also. Well, I wanted to add something because initially I joined from YouTube, and so I didn't have that facility, and somehow the WebEx link was not working. But I don't know in my absence whether these things have been shared or not. Dr. Vivek asked about what is the impact of PVPI. It has been almost now 2 decades. We have entered into the 3rd decade. Well, I have been involved with pharmacovigilance even before this program started in 2010. And this was one of my research project also when I was doing post-graduation. At this stage, I can say, I think there is a definite impact because now most of my colleagues who are joined here and everybody will agree that it is a part of our undergraduate training, teaching, assessment, pharmacy teaching, training, assessment. Many of the institutes, they have sensitized even the nursing staff, the paramedical staff, even especially if you consider from the patient perspective. I think Dr. Gupta sir will agree with me that one of the miracle drug which has done wonders for the MDR and XDR patients, bedaquiline and delaminate, we have been able to get it in India for these patients when the death rate of these patients was very high, and it was allowed in the country as only at selected centers for cohort event monitoring, and based on the pharmacovigilance program and the feedback from the coordinators, it was introduced into the national TB program. So this was a big achievement even from the patients. So this is what I wanted to share, that bedaquiline and delaminate, the domestic clinical trials were not done. It was just because of the pharmacovigilance program of India, the data which was generated at selected centers, we were able to introduce these drugs to our MDR and XDR patients. And even because one of the fear of this drug was the QTC prolongation. And that's why it was not allowed in the program initially, but yes, because of the pharmacovigilance program, this was allowed. So this was really a great achievement. Secondly, the consumer awareness. I would say when we were students, we were not knowing about pharmacovigilance. Today, the undergraduate student who gets into the second MBBS, they are aware about the program, the ADR monitoring center, how the report is to be filled up, where the report goes. And if you look at the signal generated in the last decade, I think there are 12 signals which have generated under the leadership.
We have talked about it, Dr. Meera. I think,
Fine,
yeah,
fine. Okay,
but your efforts are very well appreciated,
thank you.
and that's what I think we have already discussed, that how this can be included into undergraduate curriculum assessment. I think
Fine.
then we have requested into the medical council NMC also.
Yes,
But your proactive, I think, message which you have given to all, I think this will stimulate all other medical colleges, teachers in pharmacology to
yes,
at least, it is you rightly said, it is up to us how much we ourselves put emphasis on this. We are the teachers. So if we do this emphasis in our MBBS teaching, irrespective of waiting for MCI and MCR or PCI, I think what I must say to all, don't wait the instructions to come from the regulatory medical education, pharmacy education system. They give you the minimum mandatory teaching assignments. They do not restrict you from what you think is the best for the profession in the contemporary time. And that's what I have told in PCI. That's what I have told in MCI. And they always say that, sir, we are not binding them for not teaching anything other than this. But this is the core.
yes.
And I think the feedback is also important. Very good. I appreciate,
Thank you.
Doctor.
Thank you, sir.
And clap for you.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you, sir. And I would now like to, against popular opinion, I would like to now close the interview session because this can go on and on. But before I close, I want to take just 5 seconds to show everybody the power of AI and the power of the large language models and chat GPT and all. I'll just share my screen. So what I did was I quickly copied all the questions and asked ChatGPT how many questions were asked, and it said there were 124 questions asked in the provided data. So in a few seconds, I got to know how many questions were asked. Look at the power of Gen AI. And that's what we have to use. That's the message that we have for the young generation.
I will ask Vivek one thing, that each question which was asked had multiple questions.
Yes, sir.
So these questions were complex. So now
Yeah.
your chat GPT should also answer that how many dimensions were covered.
That's for
Wonderful. I
us
think good
humans to.
analysis.
Yeah, that's for us humans to address. Yeah, and I think with that, we'll now have to close the session. Dr. Meera, quick 5 seconds,
Yeah,
please. If you...
yeah. Sorry, sir. I don't know whether this artificial intelligence was discussed, whether it should be
Yes,
the
yes,
automation
yes.
should be
We
done.
did, we did, we
Oh,
did.
oh. So what is your answer and what are your perspectives?
See, the artificial intelligence is always a good tool, but artificial intelligence, to my mind, will never overcome the human emotion. Human intelligence it can overcome, but human emotion it cannot. When the patient suffer from ADR, is also he is hit in his emotion also, in faith on doctor, faith on medicine, faith of disease. So I think artificial intelligence give you any predictive thing which is not predicted by your normal, but the emotion which is changed, the faith in the system which is drifted, I think artificial intelligence has no role.
Thank you. So I think with that, this was the 125th question.
This is a philosophical answer.
And also we wanted to make it a round figure. It is 125th question. So thank you very much, ma'am, for asking that. And thank you very much to all the participants. I'll hand over to the PVPI to take this further from here.
On behalf of National Coordination Center, Pharmacovigilance Program of India, we thank you so much for taking the time to speak upon the pharmacovigilance and patient safety. Sir, your insights and perspectives were truly valuable and comprehensive to us. We thank Dr. Vivek Ahuja. Your opinion and passion for pharmacovigilance really come through your words. We are grateful to you for your always being with us for the interest of patient safety. We also thank Dr. YK Gupta. Your expertise on pharmacovigilance was evident and provided us a new perspective that generated a thought provoking discussion among our audience. National Coordination Center for Pharmacovigilance Program of India strongly believes that both Professor Y.K. Gupta and Dr. Vivek Ahuja have inspired our students and academicians and health professionals also to take up pharmacovigilance as a career in their future. It was a pleasure to have you with us. We thank you once again, both of you. Now, I would request Senior Scientific Officer Dr. Shashi Bhushan sir for vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
It's given me immense pleasure to propose a vote of thanks to our honorable speaker, Dr. Vivek Ahuja, Senior Vice President, Pharmacovigilance Quality and Regulatory Solution, Sana, and Professor Y.K. Gupta, National Scientific Coordinator and President, H. Jammu, for delivering a wonderful and informative talk or you can say sessions on patient safety and the caring in pharmacovigilance. So we are very thankful to you, sir. And in last but not the least, I'm very thankful to all the audience, all the participants, you can say, and all CPI stakeholders and my all colleagues for their initiative and efforts toward the celebration of National Pharmacovigilance Week. I hope this today's session will definitely beneficial to you and it provide a comprehensive overview about the pharmacovigilance. So by this note, I once again thanks to everyone for being with us. Thank you very much.
I request all the participants and dignitaries to please switch on their camera so that we can have a group photograph.
You can see Ekta Arora as well. Hi.
Thank you all for joining us for today's session.
Thank you.
This we come to an end of this session.
You.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Vivek.
Thank you. Thank you.
You.
Thank you so much.